This is a bottle of chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. I bought it because I want to make mole, which I've never made before. Here at my house, I tend to cook a lot of Western foods because I get plenty of Japanese food in my school lunches and at my school parties. And to be honest, I don't really crave it that much, aside from katsu curry. That's my favorite food in the whole world. But that's not what this video is about. This is going to be a little bit different from my normal vlogs because I actually have something to talk about this time, and that is that a lot of foreign foods are absurdly priced in Japan for seemingly no reason. Today, I want to walk you through a little bit of what those foods are and, I don't know, why they might be so highly priced. And I thought this would be a nice place to start. This one can of chipotle peppers costed me 1,350 yen. That's absurd, especially when you can get the same thing in the US for just a few dollars. I live out in the countryside in Japan, and while there are a lot of Western ingredients at the stores, they don't have some more, I don't know, niche things like this. Some surprisingly high-priced food items that I do get at my grocery store include pesto, maple syrup, and of course, cheese. I almost never buy cheese. The reason I think pesto is so expensive is because the primary ingredients in it are pine nuts and Parmesan cheese. Parmesan cheese is not cheap here, nor is any cheese. I'm not a huge cheese person, but I do like it in my food occasionally, and it really sucks that I can't get it at a decent price here. And by the way, you might point to the same grocery stores and say I can buy the Japanese melting cheese for fairly cheap, and I can. But that stuff's disgusting. It tastes like rubber. The only time I ever use it is if I'm making pizza and I want to pad out my cheese. Mozzarella's expensive. As for maple syrup, well, I have it right here. This is the maple syrup I buy, and this is real maple syrup. It's really good. But it costs a little over 600 yen for this tiny little bottle. And I guess that could kind of be forgiven because, like I said, maple syrup is expensive, and I will absolutely pay that much money for this because I make pancakes every weekend, and I need this. I used to use jam, but it's just not the same. Another great example of absurdly priced foreign products would be foreign beers. Corona, Heineken, and Budweiser are all beers that are sold normally in Japan, at lots of different places, and they're absurdly priced. Like, I'm talking 200 to 300 yen. For me to buy a 6-pack of Corona beer to enjoy with my tacos, I have to pay well over 1,000 yen. And while it's absolutely worth it, I really wish it weren't. And I really don't understand why it's so expensive. There is another foreign alcohol that is surprisingly cheap. This. Scotch whiskey is absurdly cheap in Japan. This is a bottle of Johnnie Walker Black Label, and this would normally go for, if my memory serves me correct, around $35 to $40 in the US. I got this for 2,500 yen at my local liquor store. It's not just Johnnie Walker. I'm talking really expensive ILA scotches are super cheap. Another interesting thing people find when they come to Japan is that fruit is very expensive here. Most land in Japan is dedicated to the cultivation of rice, as you would guess. So domestic fruit is often really expensive and also really good. If you've ever had fresh strawberries here, they're to die for. That being said, I almost never buy them because they're so expensive. However, these are super cheap. A second ago, I was talking about how domestic fruits are really expensive here. I didn't really say anything about imported fruits, but those also tend to be kind of expensive. Bananas are dirt cheap. One thing to keep in mind is that Japanese people tend to view fruit as more of a dessert item and not so much a snack item. Kind of the opposite of how we view them in the US. One other thing that is surprisingly cheap in Japan is salmon. Salmon does not come from Japan. It usually comes from Norway. When I lived in America, eating salmon was an occasion. It's an expensive fish. However, here it's something you just eat for breakfast or lunch or whenever the hell you want because it's so cheap. And one final cheap food that I'm really grateful for, Chicken breast. In recent years, in America, chicken breasts have gotten really expensive because lots of people eat them. They're really lean and very healthy. Meanwhile, back over there, chicken thighs. Any dark meat is extremely cheap. It is the other way around here. Chicken breasts are really, really cheap, and I'm really happy about that because I eat them all the time. Anyway, with that little rant out of the way, let's get to making this mole. So there was no real point to the video today. It was just for educational purposes to show that there are some extreme prices when it comes to living in Japan. And I hope you found the information interesting. Lately I've been craving Mexican food a lot, so I bought those canned peppers and a few other dried peppers that I plan to make chili with later. That's gonna have to wait a couple weeks though, because soon I'm gonna be going to Saitama to visit Reimi's family, and we'll probably get up to making some other kinds of food there, so look forward to that. Anyway, that's gonna be all for the video today. If you stuck around, thank you, and I will see you next time.